How goes it, everyone? I am the world famous Fat Kid, and today we are recapping week 11 in the NFL. So, slight improvement this week. Went from 9 and 5 to 10 and 4. So, we got back to double digits, and that's what I like to see. Um, yeah, it didn't go exactly as I thought, and we'll go over those games, but not bad. Not bad. It's an improvement. We're continuing to be on the positive side, so I'll take it. I will take it. So, right now, we're going to start with the Thursday night football game. Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I picked the Bengals, and it didn't help that Burrow went out midway through the second quarter, and he's out for the year. So there goes my NFC North division winners. Is it too late to switch to Baltimore? I mean, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. What? I don't know. It's difficult to talk about Baltimore because some weeks the offense looks really good and they played really well this game. And other weeks they're just garbage and they have to lean on the defense, and then the defense sometimes does it, other times that, like last week against Cleveland, the offense just absolutely shat the bed. I don't know. Baltimore's weird, but yeah, Cincinnati, I've buried a team already this year and they came roaring back. So Cincy, if you start winning, it's because of me. You're welcome. Cincinnati season is over. No Joe Burrow, no playoffs. Anyway, we started off strong with a loss for Thursday night football. Makes me sad. But we're going to move on to kind of a no doubter. Dallas Cowboys, Carolina Panthers. I mean, I didn't question it. It would have been more surprising if Carolina had won, kind of like when Dallas lost to Arizona. But they started out really slow. Like through the first quarter and a half, they only scored a touchdown. Really weird. But Dallas decided to show up and play some football. I mean, Deron Bland, fourth pick six of the season. That's pretty crazy. I think he gets one more before the end of the year. That's my prediction. Um, yeah, not really much to talk about. Dallas Dallas won. Moving on. So we go to the ugliest game of the week. Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, AFC North matchup. You knew it was going to be dirty. You knew it was going to be ugly. You knew it was going to be low scoring. Why? Because both offenses suck and both defenses are tops of the league. Of course. I'm surprised they each got to double digits. Honestly, I figured it might be 7-3 or even 6-3, maybe 9-3. But it ended up 13-10. Cleveland with a late field goal, 20 seconds left in the game to put them up 13-10. Pittsburgh had a chance with only 20 seconds left. There was really no chance. I mean, yeah. That's it. It's it's crazy how these teams are winning with no offense. It's weird and I don't like it. But yeah, we're going to move on cuz it bugs the crap out of me to Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. NFC North matchup now. Chicago. I mean, early on it looked like a slugfest. They went back and forth a little bit. I mean, they each scored a rushing touchdown early. But then the Los Angeles Rams, or we could just say the Rams version of Goff, showed up. 2 picks in the first half. Uh-oh. That's bad. But there was a touchdown to Amon-Ra St. Brown. See, I can say it. I was just nervous and I messed it up. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Anyway, and that put Detroit up 14-10 at the half. But start of the third quarter, big fumble put Chicago in great field position. And this is after they kicked a field goal to cut the lead to 1. They took the lead 20-14. Fields was playing pretty well. He was the leading rusher with 104 yards on the Bears. And it seemed to give him a shot in the arm of adrenaline or whatever because they were winning. They were up 12 points at one point. But Detroit just would not go away and ended up taking a 3-point lead with less than 30 seconds left in the game. And then the whole safety situation, which that was kind of silly, but it is what it is. So Detroit got scared against a poor Chicago team, but it's a divisional matchup, so it's going to be tougher than most other games. I'll give them a little bit of leeway, but that was too close for them. Detroit wins. We're continuing this winning train rolling. But not for very long, because now we go to the Chargers and the Packers, which the Chargers are bad. I mean, even with Herbert going 260 with 2 touchdowns and leading the team with 73 rushing yards, it was not enough. Keenan Allen, 10 catches on 16 targets for 116 yards and a touchdown. Keenan Allen, he's kind of an elder statesman in the NFL when it comes to wide receivers, but he is still really good. Same as Mike Evans, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, Aaron Jones went out with a nasty injury. It didn't look good, and I couldn't watch it a second or third. Like, nope. I hope nothing but the best for him. He's had a bad year because of injuries, and this just ugly. But I mean, this game was a slog early, and then they just started picking things up. And what's really weird is Green Bay took a lead 16-13, and the Chargers get to the goal line, and Austin Eckler fumbled on the goal line. He doesn't do that very often. But the Chargers will do Chargers things. Because, of course, they fumble. Green Bay moves the ball. Chargers get it back, take the lead, and Green Bay just goes, nope, it's our game. And they take the lead and end it. So, yeah. Jordan Love's best game of the season, I believe. 322 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looked pretty good, but that's also against the Chargers, who look lost. And Joey Bosa's out for the... who cares? Bosa's I'm not going to say it, because that's just me being mean. So, let's move on to the Arizona Cardinals and the Houston Texans. A lot closer than I thought it was going to be, even with Kyler Murray. But Houston Texans win 21-16. I mean, both Murray and Stroud were making plays early in the game. Stroud was just slinging the ball. But He did end up throwing 3 interceptions, which I believe he was the first rookie to go like 180 or some odd. I don't remember how many pass attempts, whatever it was, without an interception. And now all of a sudden, he threw 3 in one game. I think that's more of an outlier than anything. But Houston scored all their points in the first half, 21. They went up 21-10 at half. And the defense just decided to say, nah, we're gonna win this game for us. CJ, you've done enough. We got this. So it really looks like CJ Stroud, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, but those 3 interceptions. And Tank Dell, 8 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown, along with Nico Collins, are going to be the nucleus of that offense. And with D'Amico Ryans as their head coach, Houston is going to be fun to watch. They may actually be contenders, which is weird to say about the Texans. Arizona, again, competitive, but even with Murray, couldn't do it. Couldn't get it done. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. Arizona is probably going to be one of those up and down weird teams, honestly, now that Kyler Murray's back. Let's see here. We got Tennessee Titans going into Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. Jaguars just pedal to the metal. Like, they went up 13-0 at half. Calvin Ridley making a big play early, and then also a touchdown. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley has been the definition of boom or bust this year. He's either been absolutely quiet or a game like this where 103 yards on 7 catches, 2 touchdowns. It's weird, but it works, I guess, because as long as they're winning, right? As long as the Jags win, I don't know. But Jacksonville went up 30. They won 34-14. I mean, late second half, Tennessee got two touchdowns. It really wasn't anywhere near as close as, which a 20-point difference is not close, but it was a squash. That's all there was to it. That's it. So then we move on to the Las Vegas Raiders and the Miami Dolphins. Look, I called the Dolphins winning. I knew Tyreek Hill would be a problem. Mostert did a lot of damage on the ground. I'm surprised that the Raiders were as close in this game as they were. They were down at half 14-13. They were only down a point. Now Miami's offense went absolutely crazy, and they got a 500 yards or almost 500 yards of offense, or 4, whatever. It doesn't matter. The Raiders defense played the classic bend, don't break style. They gave up a couple touchdowns, but they did not let them get deep into the red zone, and they forced field goals. One was a miss that we couldn't capitalize on. The defense kept them in the game, and the offense couldn't do anything about it. So, it sucks. But something to grow on. I knew Antonio Pierce wasn't going to go undefeated as the new head coach. But it sucks because it was a game that they were in until the very end, and it is what it is. But Raiders lose 20-13. Miami, they did what they had to do. They didn't look the best doing it, but they got the win, and that's what matters. So we're going to move on to, honestly, a surprising game for me. The New York Giants against the Washington Commanders. The Giants 31-19 against Washington. I mean, Washington had 6 turnovers in this game. You can't win a game when you are -6. It's crazy. It also got a little chippy after a Sam Howell touchdown run, which divisional matchup, NFC East, they don't like each other, understandable. But the weird thing is Washington was still in it until the end when Howell got popped and the ball just kind of floated out there. He threw a duck. Guy grabbed it, ran it in for a pick six. Game set match. The craziest thing is there were 13 total sacks in this game. 9 by Washington, 4 by the Giants. That is crazy to me. That is a lot. And Tommy DeVito finally gets his first win after, 4 or 5 weeks, I think. Something like that. Either way, he looked good. 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, Saquon came out rumbling with 14 carries for 83 yards, but 4 catches for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he was important all around. So I'm not saying the Giants are back, baby, and they're going to do some damage. They got a surprising win against a divisional opponent. Is it going to relate to more wins? Probably not. But they might get 1 or 2 before the end of the season. So now we got Tampa Bay Bucks, San Francisco 49ers. I mean, San Francisco started out. They got McCaffrey a touchdown, starting that streak again. They got a receiving touchdown out of McCaffrey early in the game, and then it just turned into defense. Now, in the middle of the second quarter, roughly, Mike Evans scores a touchdown. Cool. But they were down 13-7 at half. Tampa Bay had a little bit of catching up to do. And that's when San Francisco just said no. With touchdowns to Ayuk and Kittle, put them up 27-7. I mean, Tampa Bay had a rushing touchdown out of Rachaad White to cut it. Uh-oh. Okay. I think it's gone now. Fire trucks. Okay. Yeah. They got a late touchdown to cut the deficit, but just couldn't do anything after that. I mean, Baker Mayfield, 246 yards, touchdown, 2 turnovers, pick and a fumble. Not the greatest game, but not the worst game he's ever played. I mean, Mike Evans, 5 catches on 12 targets. They were trying to force him the ball. He only had 43 yards, but he did have a touchdown. I mean, not the biggest game of his career, but still put one in the end zone. Purdy, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns. He may be back because Tampa Bay's not exactly a slouch in the defense department. I don't know. We'll have to see because they got. Let's see here. Where'd they go? Oh, they got Seattle coming up. In Seattle. That should be a good game. And Brandon Ayuk, 5 catches, 156 yards, and a touchdown. Crushed it. He is crushing it week in, week out. There you go. There's my assessment. Next, Jets, Bills. This is the Bills offense that we expected to see all season. Where have they been? I don't know. I mean, opening kickoff fumble by the Jets. That's a good start, right? So, Buffalo got a field goal out of it. Okay. That's still points off of a turnover. Jets offense is so bad. They are so bad that they benched Zach Wilson late in the third quarter, only 81 yards, for Tim Boyle. I have no idea who that is. Uh-oh, more sirens. Probably too late. You probably heard him. Oh well. Josh Allen, 7 straight games with a pick. But he also had 3 touchdowns. So you take the good, you take the bad, and then you have the facts of Josh Allen's season. Jets had some gutsy play calls, 2 fourth down conversions on a drive. They scored a touchdown, but it really didn't matter. The Jets were outclassed. Buffalo was on a revenge tour, and they wanted to. They wanted the victory, and they got it, 32-6. Now, some of y'all probably made fun of me for saying the Rams were going to win this game. Seattle looked like the much better team. I did say that if it wasn't Stafford, they'd lose, but if it was, they'd win. It wasn't because of Stafford, but the Rams win. Seattle 16, Rams 17. Metcalf was going crazy earlier. And the Rams were, in the first half, pretty much doing nothing until, with like 3 seconds left, Puka Nacua gets a touchdown. 70-yard, well, it was like a 3-yard touchdown, but Puka Nacua, 5 catches, 70 yards and a touchdown. I like to see it. But I think part of why Seattle won, no disrespect to Charbonnet, but Kenneth Walker going out in the first quarter really hurt. And I hope it's not as bad as it may seem, but we'll find out. I haven't looked into it yet. Yeah, the Rams just hung around until they could finally take the lead. Stupid sirens. Okay. Yeah, they pretty much pulled the Pittsburgh playbook. They hung around, and then they made their move. Granted, Seattle got into field goal range. It was a 55-yarder, and Myers whiffed it. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But called it, got it right, count it. So we move on to Sunday Night Football. Two of the hottest teams in the NFL. Minnesota Vikings, Denver Broncos. Minnesota on a 5-game win streak. Denver on a 4? Not 100% sure. But they increased it because Denver wins 21-20. I picked Minnesota. They couldn't get the put away drive. They couldn't get the put away, the knockout punch. They just couldn't do it. Their final drive, they had to settle for a field goal. Well, second to last drive, they settled for a field goal instead of getting a touchdown. They would have got the touchdown, it would have been fine. They would have won, no problems. But it started off with a nasty hit on Dobbs that did not get called a penalty. It was ruled a fumble, and Denver capitalized. I mean, he did get Jackson. He did get suspended. I believe it was 4 games for that hit. So I guess better late than never. But if Dobbs would have got hurt, that would have been really bad. Anyhow, Minnesota was in control for most of the game. They got an early second quarter touchdown to the tight end. No, not Hawkinson. Oliver. Weird. I didn't know they had other tight ends. I know they did. Just stop it. It's a joke. A terrible joke. Leave me alone. But Dobbs. Dobbs has been really good for the Vikings. The Pastronaut is not to blame for any of the problems with Minnesota. I mean, he came in, got 3 wins? I don't remember. He's got 2 or 3 wins. This is his first loss in Minnesota. And you can put that on the defense. Well, and I guess the red zone deficiencies. But they could not stop Samaje Perine. He was just killing them on Denver's final drive. I think he had like 5 catches for 30 yards. I don't know for certain. He ended with 7 catches for 60 yards. He did a lot of damage on that game-winning touchdown drive. It's ridiculous. But Russ was looking a little bit more like old Russ, and he made some plays. Denver gets the win. They're now 3rd in the AFC West, which means the Raiders are last. For now. It doesn't matter. So, on to what a lot of people considered the game of the week. The Super Bowl rematch. Philadelphia Eagles going into Kansas City, taking on the Chiefs, and coming away with the win. I called it. I told you. Early, it started with they traded punts, then they traded touchdowns, then they traded picks. Which a red zone pick for Mahomes, very weird. Not characteristics that he has. He normally takes care of the ball in the red zone. I'm excited. I'm happy about it. It was kind of rainy too. So maybe that had an impact on all the dropped passes by the Chiefs. So many dropped passes. But Philadelphia didn't have that problem. But we're not going to talk about that. So Kansas City went up 17-7 at half. And Philly just big play after big play after brotherly shove after brotherly shove gets the lead 21-17. And the biggest drop of them all, late in the fourth quarter on the game-winning drive, potential game-winning drive, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. He's got his guy beat by like 5 steps. Mahomes puts it, boom, right there in his hands. Oh no. And he dropped it. He would have caught it at the, like, diving, caught at the 2, slid into the end zone, touchdown. But he's the reason they lost, because he didn't secure the ball. I love it. Kansas City shut out 17-0 in the shut out in the second half. No points. It makes me happy. But I'm also a Raiders fan and I hate the Chiefs. So take that for what it is. But I called it. I called the Eagles That's Monday Night Football. That's Week 11. And, I mean, I'm having a good time with this. I hope you're having a good time watching this. I'm going to keep doing it anyway. But for now, I'm going to let you get out of here. And I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, it is what it is. Take it easy.